mic, and it is time for another edition of our Kiss in the Community Public Affairs Show. Now, today is all about love, man. Why not spread love? In fact, why not spread a little Leo's love? I have with me today the founder and executive director of Leo's Love, Nakia Johnson. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, I must admit, you sent us a letter to the station telling us about an event that you have that we're going to talk about a little bit later on. But I must admit, when I first saw the letter, I saw Leo's Love. I thought this was all about the Leos, you know? And so I was excited. And initially, I thought we were going to have a big party or something. Or, you know, this has something to do with my birthday was what I thought this was. And then you let me know that was definitely a mistake, but that you are a fellow Leo too.
Absolutely, August 11th.
Yeah, so you're already cool. You're already in the game, Nakia.
Wonderful.
You're already a part. That's how you got this interview today, Nakia.
Awesome.
Yeah. Leo power, Leo love. So let's talk a little bit about Leo's Love.
Leo's Love is my nonprofit organization, and it was designed to help individuals who suffer from the effects of fatherlessness. And ironically, Leo's Love is named after my father, who was not in my life. It was a decision that he made. It was a choice that he made. And for a long time, I absolutely did not like him for what he did. Because I felt like all of the wrong decisions or wrong choices that I made as far as, you know, life, especially men, it was a drawback from what he did. By him not being present. You know, the first guy that comes along tells me I'm beautiful. Oh my God, I'm beautiful. Yes, he told me. No, the first person that a woman should absolutely fall in love with should be her dad, and he was not. So I made wrong decisions. I suffered from that mentally and emotionally, and at my lowest point, I heard a voice tell me, you need to start a nonprofit for people that hurt like you. And in the midst of all these tears, I'm like, I know absolutely nothing about starting a nonprofit, especially for people that hurt like me. I'm too hurt to help other people. But that's when you should help other people, is in the midst of your hurt. And that's when Leo's Love, I guess, gave birth.
Wow. Wow, that's a pretty amazing story. And how have you guys been able to, you know, come together to help other people? Or what have you noticed a change, you know, in people just, you know, by opening up your heart and opening up your situation and being vulnerable like that? What did you notice as far as the reception of Leo's Love?
That there definitely, what I thought, there were people hurting just like me. There definitely are. And my story is not original. It's not the spectacular thing. It's not anything special. I just choose to talk about it. I choose to help people that are hurting, because in some of my deepest, darkest hours, I didn't want to be here. I've attempted suicide. And you want to stop the next young lady or the next little boy from doing that. Because you never know what they could be. They could be the greatest people on the planet, but if you don't have somebody there telling them it's okay, it's not your fault that your parent or your dad did what they did, go on with your life, they're not going to believe that. So they could be ending something great, and I want to be able to stop that if I possibly can.
Nice. And were you ever able to, like, reconnect with your father at all? Or, you know, be able to, I guess, in some, you know, sometimes they say it's good to be able to sit and talk to that person that hurt you or something? Right.
So I have 7 accounts with my dad.
7 in your whole life?
In my whole life.
Okay.
7. The last, well, actually, none of them were pleasant.
None of the 7?
None of the 7 were pleasant. The first one, I was 7. I was in Upper Marlboro Courthouse for, of course, we can guess, child support. I'm assuming. Okay.
So
I'm little. So when I looked up at him, I was like, oh my God, my dad's a giant. And then the next time I talked to him, it was over the phone, and the conversation was, well, why do you want to meet me? Why do you want to talk to me? For what? So one of my first interactions with him, or first emotions from him, was rejection and not love. So it was hard, or it has been hard for me to trust people because of that, because that was my first, this is what you're supposed to get. this is your normal. This is what you're supposed to be accustomed to. And that's not. So the last one was actually just before he passed away. In 2007. Yeah. So we never got to have that talk. I never got questions answered, but those are moments where you have to fall back on your faith,
right,
and learn to accept the apology that you're never going to get. And know that your earthly father may not be here, but your heavenly father is here for you, and he will always be there for you and with you.
I think that's so important, especially for young ladies, because I think, your situation is not uncommon. And you hit on something earlier about just how that takes a toll on your self-esteem, and how easy a target you can be, from men to for the young lady who doesn't feel that love or appreciation, or hasn't gotten that interaction, and how easy it is, for him to take advantage of that lack of self-esteem. So I feel like Leo's love it's so necessary, in particular for young girls and their esteem, and how that affects, just the way that they interact or build relationships with people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
so
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. So would you consider Leo's Love kind of like a support group type of situation?
It will be a support group.
Okay.
There, of course, once we grow and get bigger and can actually move into a facility, there'll be, days and events where people can just come in, and we're actually going to go through the curriculum that we're actually building right now. Okay. But it will be a support group for young adults, and, kids grade school age. Because they all age groups go through the same thing. Right. And it's kind of like a cycle. If you don't ever deal with it, it just kind of keeps going, and then it kind of keeps growing depending on, as you get older. Exactly. It's that snowball. It just keeps growing and growing. Exactly. Wow. And let me ask, just for Leo's Love, like, how can people reach out to you guys? Where are you located? How can people get involved with Leo's Love and the initiative that you have? They can get in contact with us through volunteers at leoslove.org, or they can visit the website, www.leoslove.org, and there is a volunteer tab where they can go and fill out our volunteer application. Nice. Now, I noticed your tag it says Leo's Love, making the invisible visible. Yes. Did you feel invisible? Absolutely. Or do you feel that the absence of a parent makes you invisible in a sense? The absence of a parent does make you feel invisible, because no matter how hard the other parent tries to make up for that one parent not being there, because they have to work so much, because they have to do this, because they have to do that, they're absent as well, but they're coming back, but you still feel invisible when you need them. Right, because by the time they come back, it's kind of like, they're tired. Yeah. Wow. Because I did want to ask, like, how your mother played a role in helping out in that manner when you didn't have your father there and you were seeking that. My mother is awesome, because she tried to make me not feel his presence as much as possible. And I'm so grateful that she did that. But there are still points in your life where, man, I wish I could talk to my dad. This dude hurt my feelings. I wish I could talk to my dad. Or you get into, just something, and you're like, man, I need my dad. A flat tire, man, I wish my dad was here so I can call him so he can come change my flat tire. Just something. But she did the best that she could with the support system that she had. My grandparents were there. I had aunts and uncles that were there. So it wasn't like I did not have the support there, because I did, but there's nothing like that love and support from your dad. There's nothing like it. And I've seen both sides. I've seen my girlfriends who have their dads and their daddy's girl, and like, oh my God, I love my dad, I love my dad. And actually, our president, she is a daddy's girl. She is absolutely, without a doubt, 100%, and she's probably going to kill me. She is a daddy's girl. But I feel like I was robbed of that opportunity. So...
Now, would you guys start any initiatives for people, for fathers in general? Because I've also I've learned, because one of my coworkers, Peace Too, he has a hip-hop fathers movement going on. And the idea is almost like a support group for fathers, because sometimes fathers don't really know how to be fathers. If they came from a situation where maybe that father wasn't around, or perhaps that father didn't do his job, so he may not have had the right examples, and then he has a child, and maybe he may not know the best way to help. So, I think part of maybe combating fatherlessness comes from, helping fathers become fathers as well,
Right. And we do want to implement that as well, like parenting classes and just other things that will help them get involved in their child's life. Because like you said earlier, it's cyclical. If you don't address it in the beginning, it's just going to keep going and going and going. And then you'll have generations of people that don't know how to love, don't know how to be there, don't know how to care for the family, don't know how to provide or protect for the family. So, yes, we do have plans to put several initiatives in place to help the ones that are being fathers to, praise them, encourage them, keep them going, and those that are not, to encourage them to be fathers or be better fathers.
Nice. For those of you just tuning in, we're talking to Miss Nakia Johnson. She's the founder and executive director of Leo's Love. They are combating fatherlessness in the community. And when you wrote to us, you sent us an event. You're going to have a community meet and greet. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes, so the community meet and greet is for the community to know, hey, this is an organization that's here. We're here to help you. You can come out and help us, volunteer. All of these school-age kids who need community service hours, come on out. There are lots of hours to get. And it's going to be at the South Bowie Branch Library, 15301 Hall Road, on Saturday, June 27th from 1:30 to 4.
Okay. And is that information available on leoslove.org?
Yes.
Okay, so for anybody who needs that date and that location, leoslove.org. Now, would you recommend, like...
It's also on our Facebook page.
Oh, what's the Facebook page? /Leo's Love?
Yes.
Okay. Good. That makes sense to me. And would you recommend, like... as far as people who come out, do you recommend that mothers who maybe have daughters or sons in that situation? Because, again, I'm sure there are a lot of people listening that can totally relate to your story, or don't want their children to be in that position, or their child may be going through that currently. Would you, do you want them to come as well and be a part?
Absolutely. Mothers, bring your children. Grandparents, bring your grandkids. Aunts and uncles, bring your nieces and nephews. Dads, come with your kids. Absolutely. It's free and open to the public.
Nice. And so what are some of the things you guys will be doing at your community meet and greet?
Well, this one is just really informal. It's more like getting to know us. Hey, this is who we are. Here are our faces. And we'll be answering questions from the participants. What do you want to get from Leo's Love? This is what we're offering. How do you want us to, help your child? What areas do you think we need to focus on with your child?
Right.
That type of thing.
Because all this will help you develop your curriculum that you're currently building?
Yes.
Okay. So where are you at in that process as far as building your curriculum, and are you looking for outside resources to help with building the curriculum?
We are looking for outside resources. Our president, Sharita Hogan, is helping me with that, along with the other members of the board. We were looking into getting some interns from the local universities, but we're going to wait a little bit for that.
Okay.
Probably contact them in the fall and do a fall intern.
Okay.
So they can, have their summer and relax.
Right, absolutely. So again, if you're interested, this is everybody from volunteers to families, moms, dads, everybody is welcome to come out to this Leo's Love event. Again, Bowie, Maryland is the place, South Bowie Library. mark your calendars for Saturday, June 27th, 1:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Definitely support Nakia and her initiative. I think this is a great initiative. You don't really see, or at least I haven't seen, a lot of organizations that are kind of specifically geared towards this. And again, the idea that there are children or young people who start to feel suicidal or who start to feel invisible. I think that should never be the case for young people when they're growing up, because, how are you going to find yourself if you don't even feel like you exist?
Exactly, exactly.
And I was looking at some of the statistics also on leoslove.org, and it says that fatherlessness affects 43% of the children in the United States, and that in 1999, 71% of teenage pregnancies were from girls of homes where the father was not present. What are your thoughts on that statistic?
Other than it's high and we need to reduce that somehow?
Yeah.
It's sad. Mm-hmm. It's sad because somehow, the old cliche, it takes a village to raise a child, somehow, I don't want to say the village has let us down, but it's not as strong as it used to be.
Right.
And that's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
So Leo's Love hopefully will be that gap or be that bridge to close in those gaps.
Yeah. And specifically, because I'm also on your site, and it says the Washington metropolitan area, with African-American children making up 76% of fatherless homes, while their Caucasian counterparts only occupy 12% of that.
Yeah.
And in Maryland, fatherless homes of African-American and Caucasian children make up 60% and 22% respectively. So there's, in our community, there's clearly that's a pretty disproportionate,
it is. The scales are definitely unbalanced.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. And it's something that we need to address, and it's about time, and I'm glad that I have the opportunity to come in and show people, as horrible as it is, the statistic, but then take that and work on it. Take that and try to lower those numbers, build better families. And even if it's an incident where, the dad just has another family or whatever, you can still create a great co-parenting environment.
Right.
I have a girlfriend who calls her kid's father her PIP, her partner in parenting.
Yeah.
So, and it's great though, because their kids are amazing. Right. They work well together. To see them, you would think, oh, how long have you guys been married? Oh, we're not.
Right.
But it's great. They do a phenomenal job at raising their beautiful kids.
Right.
So it's possible. It can be done. You just have to put in the work and want to do the work and just get it done.
That's so true. And that actually makes me, that gives me an idea as well, because I think we need more initiatives for co-parenting.
Exactly.
People need to learn how to, if you're not together, that doesn't mean that you should be absent from the child's life,
Exactly.
And
that should not always be the extreme option.
Yeah.
You don't have to like me, that's fine.
Right.
But we're going to love and support our kids together.
Right. Because that makes a difference.
Exactly.
Let me ask you, Nakia, before I let you go, what life lessons do you feel like you've learned and gained, just in your personal journey? Because, again, I know there are probably some young people listening, again, who can completely relate to what you're going through. And, they might need some words or wisdom. So if you could tell your 7-year-old self back, in that courtroom, what would you say to your 7-year-old self? What would you say to your preteen self? And what would you say to your teenage self?
Wow. It's funny you say 7, because 7 is my favorite number.
Yeah. It's a great number. Completion.
Yes. It's not your fault, and you're going to be okay. It is. It's not your fault. It's not. That's a decision that an adult made that they thought was best for them. And it's not your fault. It had nothing to do with you, and you are going to be okay. Regardless of all of the nights that you would cry yourself to sleep, all the nights that you feel like, I can't go on, I don't want to go on, but you will, and you will come out just fine.
Speaking of fault, did you ever take it out on your mom by chance? Did you ever get mad at your mom for your father not being there?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
and I don't want to
take it out on the
right. And I don't want to say it so like, oh, so matter of factly, but I did because in my mind I'm thinking, well, I'm a little kid. What did you do?
Right.
So because, and then it goes to, that's when you start the blame game. Well, it's not my fault, so it had to be your fault. And then once you hear her side, and then you start to internalize, man, okay, so it is my fault.
Right.
But then you have to come out of that.
Right.
You have to look at the whole picture and go, no, that's a decision that he made. But those different phases of thinking don't come until you actually sit down and be brutally honest with yourself and do the work yourself and realize, you know what, it's really not my fault. I have this exercise that I'm going to introduce to our participants that I did a long time ago, and it's helped me with healing and forgiveness. I had to write down a list of people that have ever hurt me that I can remember, because I have a lot of stuff going on in my mind. So I wrote down a list of everybody that's ever hurt me, and I wrote down the top maybe 5 to 10 things that they did to hurt me. And I had to account for why I thought they hurt me, how it made me feel, and how I reacted. With that same list, I had to make another list of how I may have hurt them. And how it possibly could have made them feel. And why they reacted to me the way they did. So once you sit down, and it was a hard, tearful event. Right. But I had to do it. But that has helped me so much with forgiveness. So much. And once we get, the people in, I'm going to encourage everybody to do that same thing. You have to learn to forgive because it's not your fault. It's
like on your site. It says, live for peace, erase the hurt, and love those in need.
Yep.
I think that is so awesome. Making the invisible visible. Leo's Love. Again, that website, leoslove.org. Don't forget about their big event, the community meet and greet at the South Bowie Library. That's 15301 Hall Road in Bowie, Maryland. That goes down on Saturday, June 27th. All are welcome, right?
Yes.
From 1:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. And thank you so much, Nakia. Thank you so much for starting this. And I think you're going to affect a lot of lives, over time. And I encourage, I really appreciate you for Leo's Love.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad that I was called to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what that was. That was a calling. So I'm glad you answered it, too.
Yes, me too.
All right. Anything else before we go, Nakia?
Nope, that's it. Just check out our website, leoslove.org. If you have questions about volunteering, you can hit us up on email at volunteers@leoslove.org.
There it is. And on that note, this concludes our another edition of our WKYS Kissing the Community Public Affairs Show, brought to you by Leo's Love. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Angie Ange, your mic. I catch y'all on Monday in the afternoon, of course, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. right here on 93.9 WKYS. Have a great Sunday.
Kiss in the Yo. It's Kiss in